It was here, on the banks of the Torrens in central Adelaide, that Dr Duncan met his death late at night on May the 10th. Very little is known about Dr Duncan. He came to Australia in March as an immigrant and to join the Department of Law at the University of Adelaide. He knew few people, he liked to be alone, eat alone, and he was a homosexual. The details of what happened that night were pieced together by the Adelaide coroner, who found that the cause of Dr Duncan's death by drowning was due to violence on the part of persons of whose identity there was no evidence. It was on pathologist's evidence that the coroner accepted that Dr Duncan was a homosexual. Under government instructions, he allowed homosexuals who said they were on the riverbank that night to give evidence in camera, so that they could be neither named nor identified. Evidence they did give revealed that about 10:30 p.m. two homosexuals quarrelled in a toilet. On leaving the toilet, one chased the other. And at about this time, according to the evidence of three young men sitting in a car, 4 or 5 homosexuals were chasing each other around these boat sheds. While they did so, the witnesses said, a car pulled up that looked like a police car. A uniformed police officer told the inquest that he met a constable from the vice squad who used a 4-letter word to tell him to clear off. Another witness, a man identified only as Mr. X, told the inquest that on the same night at the same spot he'd been seized by 2 men and flung down these concrete steps and into the river. And it was shortly after this that Dr Duncan suffered a similar fate. Later, police inquiries revealed that members of the vice squad were in the area at the time of Dr Duncan's death, after attending a retirement party for one of their colleagues at a nearby hotel. And earlier this month, almost 2 months after the incident, 3 vice squad members, Constables Corley, Clayton and Hudson, were suspended from the force. While the police investigation goes on, several things have happened. The University of Adelaide's council met at the weekend and expressed grave disquiet at the circumstances surrounding the Duncan affair. One academic, Dr E.H. Medlin, said he too had been attacked on the banks of the Torrens, and he believed his attacker was a member of the vice squad. This sort of thing, he said, has been happening as long as I can remember. Should homosexuals have to meet furtively at night in places like this because of the existing law? Murray Hill is a member of the South Australian Parliament and the first politician in this country to move to change the law. What do you intend to do, Mr. Hill?
Well, the proposed bill will alter the present law so that 2 and no more than 2 adult consenting males who live privately will no longer be criminals, as they are throughout Australia at the present time.
And you're introducing a private members' bill?
Yes, this is a matter which is usually done by private members' legislation or private members' bills. Any social legislation of a rather radical kind is usually introduced in that way.
Do you expect the Dunstan government to support you?
Well, I don't know what the government will do, but I would think that a bill of this kind would be treated as an open vote and that each member will vote according to his or her conscience.
You're not a homosexual yourself?
No.
Are you in touch with them? I mean, have they come to you for help?
Well, some people have phoned me, who I believe, of course, are. But most of the people that have been in touch with me are younger people in their 20s and 30s, solicitors and psychologists and teachers who have grouped together to see whether this law, which is considered in this one respect to be a very unjust law, can be changed.